All right, it's 2 o'clock, a little after. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we're going to start with our public comment, 3 minutes limit. So, who would like to speak first?
I'll go first just to, sorry, just get this out of the way. Hello, I'm Adrienne Balkum, and I have about 7 questions. First, I want to tell you something positive. Thank you for making those changes on the website and providing those documents. I know that there's still more to do, so thank you for doing that. So per an email from Freeze and Nickel, which gives the appearance you were approved for the new Take Point in Terrell, what concrete document from North Texas Municipal Water District do you have that shows you will be allowed to take on that Take Point as a direct customer? Number 2 is, have you received a new contract or amended contract with the City of Rockwall, which last meeting we were waiting for the attorney to follow up on that. Are financials running through H2O Services or under RCH Water Service Corporation? Where is the protected reserves located, in a local bank or in an invested bank? When can we expect the annual audit report by a third party? How much is RCH paying for H2O Services contract? And what is the relationship between Jackie Pullen and Mount Zion's Water Corporation?
Good Lord. Well,
yeah.
Have those answers right now. Maybe you should submit those questions to us. We'll see.
The only one that I'm aware of that is right now, and I mean, we're not really, we can't respond to all those, Adrienne, as you know, but I can't say that as far as the best of my knowledge, we do not have anything from Rockwall yet as far as the contract is concerned.
Okay.
That's a great problem. The rest of them will have to.
I can address the last question.
Sure.
Mr. Pullen has nothing to do with Mount Zion Water Supply. That is a totally different supply system north of town. He has never had anything to do with it, and he doesn't do anything with it today.
One would you ask?
That was a rumor, and I want it to be addressed and be snuffed out.
Rumors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Well, I'll answer that one for him.
Thank you.
For sure.
Okay. Who else?
I'll go. I submitted a request to speak to the board. I've talked at the last meeting. I've sent in a request. I've sent emails asking for the financial reports and have yet to see those. The bylaws spell out how that's supposed to happen. That annually you're supposed to have a competent person audit them, and the prepared report is supposed to be submitted to the members at the annual meeting. And I really hope I don't get a response similar to the one I asked about the reserves, saying that, well, you weren't at the annual meeting, that's why you don't have them, because the Texas Open Meeting Act addresses this. And actually, I'm sitting here watching, I'm really even concerned that these meetings meet that criteria, because there's supposed to be a recording of the meeting. Thanks to you, there is one. I'm not sure there has been one. There's no meetings, minutes published. There's nothing about the meetings that's available to the members. And this financial information is not available. The bylaws say that the board amount can be put in reserves. The response I got was, if indebted to the government, which I don't think that's exactly how the wording of that context is, but last month we went through a lot of concerns with our water system, and heard lots of, we need to hope and pray for rain. And I said several times, hoping and praying is not a strategy. We have a problem, we need to have some concrete solutions how to fix it. The engineer went through a lot of that information, spelled out a lot of things that are in work or planned, but every one of those had big price tags with them. Well, the only way they get paid for is with money. If there's no reserve, don't know where that's coming from unless you're looking to us to do that, but I guarantee you that the members don't have millions of dollars to fund these improvements. So we have asked for financials, we've asked about reserves, and we've got zero response from anyone here. Jim said, trust us. And I have for a month, and we've seen nothing. Bylaws to get posted, I appreciate that, because that's one of the things you have to sign off on if you want to apply to be on the board, and no one could even do that because they didn't know what the bylaws were. So there has been a little bit of improvement, but trust only goes so far. These should be documents you already have that should very easily, by your administrative company, be able to be posted onto the website. This shouldn't be difficult. And here we are 30 days later, and we've seen nothing about the financials. But we know we have a big problem. I still have very low water pressure. I can't even keep enough ice for what we use in a day for 2 people. I can hardly flush the toilet. So rain wasn't the solution to the problem. Yes, there's less water usage, but we still have a problem that has to be resolved. I remember countless times, I don't know if you guys here, but he asked 4 times at least last time about when are you going to have a certain PSI at my house where I can run my sprinklers. And it kind of became comical after a while, but it's still a very factual question that needs to be answered. When are we going to get the pressure problems fixed? We know it's going to cost millions. Rain wasn't the answer to it. And we want to see the financials and the reserve information so that we can begin preparing for what you're going to be asking us to do. Because I don't think this is an independently wealthy corporation since it's non-profit. So the money's got to come from somewhere. And without lack of evidence, the trust goes to 0. And in the past 30 days, I haven't seen any evidence that we should be trusting that this board is providing oversight of what's going on in this corporation. I hope in the very near future we see something drastically different. Otherwise, we have to find another way to solve this problem because water is very essential to life and we need it. I'm sorry, what was your name? Lori Lindop. The summary of that was in my request I sent, so you have all that.
This, she's. Thank you. Anybody else? You don't want to address some of her issues before we move to another person? Can we talk about?
Public comments can be that they don't
Public
vote
comment,
on.
you can- okay.
So I have the last one.
Anybody else? Okay. Let's go ahead with the reading of the minutes. I get to do that today. Very grateful to have these minutes to read here. Jackie Pullen called RCH Water Supply meeting order at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, August the 3rd. He made introductions of board members, Eddie Daniel, Art Rodriguez, among them our engineer. Jack Pullen opened the floor for comments. Several people stood and made comments and voiced their concerns. Eddie Daniel spoke to the board and the attendees. He affirmed that July 1, 2022, North Texas Municipal Water District has approved us to be a direct customer of water from them. The city of Rockwall verbally agreed to us to go to North Texas Municipal Water District. And he also spoke that we were waiting on approval from the city of McLendon-Chisholm to build an elevated storage tank. He stated that this contract had been with the city for a while, for over a year. And he also said that within 2 years, the RCH Water Supply Corporation will get water from North Texas Municipal Water District by way of Carroll. Art Rodriguez spoke on the contractual issue of water meters and setting up new meters. Steve Hatfield spoke about RCH Water Supply Corporation, what is going on with the company. He spoke on doing a better job from this point forward. Steve Hatfield moved to adjourn the meeting, and Lovell and Lowell seconded the motion, and the motion passed. Any additions? Changes? Minutes?
Hear a motion to approve the minutes.
Move it. Approve the minutes.
Second.
Second.
Okay, let's do the update information on the RCH website.
We have made some improvements there. And thank you, Robin, for getting these done. We've implemented a contact us customer support interface, which I believe that all filled out today. And so that gives you an opportunity to come before the board and speak. And we've also added ACH authorization and termination, information on locating utilities, new meter service agreement, water lines, specifications and requirements, a right-of-way easement form, board of directors application, and then a complaint and board meeting request, which is similar. I think that may be some of the things that online form, speak to council. We used alerts and used to disseminate critical information. Board of directors are all listed now. Updated daily usage report, annual usage reports, notifications of news and updates. There hasn't been anything to add to that this month, I don't believe. Provided access to bylaws and articles of incorporation. Posted the North Texas Municipal Water Service release on RCH Conserve Water and change the cover on it. Those are some things that changed it today.
All right, thank you, Steve. Let's do the review of the drought contingency plan.
You got any comments? You want to say anything about it?
Charlie?
Well, anyway, right now, we're in stage 4.
I do have a comment, if we can make comments. We talked about the updates to the website, but is the intent that these things will help with all the concerns that were raised at the August meeting?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. There were things that were asked to be seen on the website, and that's what we're doing.
I mean, the communication of having to submit the form to speak at the board meeting didn't happen very well. I fortunately found out about it because I sent a customer service inquiry and got informed that if I had any questions, I needed to fill out that form. So I don't think the customer service inquiry is to get information. It is simply to send it back to us to say, you can fill out this form or speak at the board. So customer service that was brought up quite extensively at that meeting, that form's not solving it. So my curiosity for the board is, this stuff was done, what are you doing to make sure those concerns, because the minutes didn't line them out. I hope you remember all the concerns that were voiced, because they weren't in the minutes at all, that these actions actually helped to solve those problems that came up.
I guess we're just in the process of trying to work through those. I mean, it's not gonna be an overnight situation.
And I don't believe that we take minutes on public comments. It's not really, there's no action there. But we
Wow.
I think I'm just gonna say this, we've made progress since last month. We've gotten some things accomplished, and next month there will be more progress. We have.
Okay, right.
You do it?
Okay.
Okay, the drought contingency plan, as everybody knows, we're still in stage 4. Drought contingency, we did, the usage did, with the help of the rain, dropped to 645,000 gallons a day. Except that day it fell to 625, and the next day it was 900,000. So you can see the jump that it makes in just one day. We can try to go to stage 3, but it's still a 20% reduction. So you're looking at somewhere around $1.4 million, $1.8 million to stay under $1.8 million to keep the reduction. If the citizens can do that, and the board's up to the board to allow us to go to stage 3 and do sprinkler. But I'm telling you now, that 300,000 jump is nothing compared to what it will be. You know, when we was back in the big times, we was $1.5 million to $2 million between midnight and 8 o'clock the next morning. So you can see right there that it will escalate in a hurry. And if it does, we're going to be right back to where we were. We're still just getting X amount of water every day. So if we start using above that point, you know, it's up to Rockwall to say, hey, y'all, you know, cut back again, and they're going to cut me back in 14 hours like they did last time, and don't give you time to react to it. So it's up to the board to decide, do we take that little leap and try it? Or do we kind of stay where we're at due to the fact that even when we was in stage 4, we was bumping $1.8 million and $1.9 million a day.
So I have a question, my apologies, because I haven't read the contingency plan since before the last meeting, but isn't it based on the fill rate of the tanks as opposed to usage?
No, ma'am, it's based on what we use.
It's usage.
Right. It's a 20% usage. If we, yeah, and it's the same thing. If you can't fill the tank, you know, to fill the tank's 2.1 million. We're looking for a 20% reduction, so you're down to $1.4 million or $1.8 million. I don't know where I'm at. $1.8 million. So you're looking at that, and it still fills the tank, but you got a little reserve there of 20% in case if something happens, like a big leak or something like that. You don't jump way over your 2.1 million. But like I said, it's still up to the board, but you know, I've seen it where it jumps expeditiously. It could $500,000 in one night, you know, with sprinklers going. So, you know, it's up to the board whether they want to cut you loose and bump us back up to that, close to that point, and we get into another bind, or we stay where we're at, and the people that's been using, you know, the people that's been using the water, they're going to use it anyway. So, but it's up to the board whether you want to.
Have you used any of the enforcement authority that the contingency plan gives you? You know who these people are that are using the water. All you gotta do is look at their meter. It gives you the ability to go out and issue them a citation that goes before a judge. Has that been executed?
Citation's not available until we go to stage 6. The stage 4, you got a notification, you got a deal in your bill that says we're in stage 4. And I look, and I feel like this. We're all adults here.
Yeah.
We're not first graders. You got the notification that you're supposed to reduce usage. And I'm not going to go out there and you look at me like I'm a lowlife telling you not to use your water. I'm not going to do it. I'm not in that position, and I'm not going to take the looks from people that give me that when I ask them to reduce their usage. So right now it's all on y'all. It's all on the customers. If you watch the website and you see, if they go to this and you see you getting back up to 1.9 million, then it's going to happen.
I've got a question for you on that. Because I'm sitting here listening to what you're saying, I'm sitting here listening to what she's saying. You know, we're being told to be adults and to use our brain, be smart in the usage of water, okay? I kind of look at it a little bit different. Although I am being a good steward of how much water I use, if I pay my bill to you, you shouldn't have the ability to tell me what to do with my water. If I'm paying you for water, then I should be able to use it the way I see it. I understand you're limited from Rockwall. But let's be honest here, because I've done my homework. Every year by September 1, you have the ability to go to them and say, this is our forecast usage or growth. They have the right to say yes or no on whether they want to fulfill that. I've talked to the city of Rockwall. You haven't done that in many, many years. But you're asking me to reduce my water? That's BS.
Okay.
If you're not asking them for future growth when you know developments are being made, how dare you tell us to stop using water when you have the ability to ask them for more? Be honest with us.
I think to be honest with you, sir, they signed the contract in 2014, and we kind of mentioned it a little bit, to extend it to 2019. In 2019, I got emails over there that was sent to Rockwell stating the fact I need to meet you about our contract. They met with me and said, we'll look into it, okay? Hey, I'm from way back when. If you tell me you're gonna look into it, I'm not gonna bug you every day to ask you about it. That was in 2019. In 2021, early, I called them and texted them and said, emailed them and said, we have a problem with our contract because TCEQ doesn't like it. We've had a state inspection and it's not up to date. Zero response. November of 21, we went up there and said, we need a new contract because we need X amount of money or what. To this day, the only response we have is the lawyer's looking into it. So it's not that we have not contacted them, and we're acting like a person. It's not that I personally did contact them, and I personally met with them up there, and they can sit down and say, we haven't talked to them, when in fact I have talked to them.
There's a very easy fix for that, because I can request an open records request over there.
Well,
and find out if that's happened.
We met with department leaders. We didn't meet with the city council.
Okay.
I'm showing you the emails I got.
And I've met with those same department heads, and they tell me you guys have never asked for an
Well,
increase.
that's their business. I'm not getting into
I understand that, but
business
you just,
with, but I tell you
you
right
just
now, I
told
will
me,
bet.
you just told me you asked, but you're not gonna go back and ask again. There's 4,200 residents in this community that want water, that expect you to provide water, and you ask them one time and you're not gonna ask again. If that's the way you do business, shame on you.
Well, it's not shame on me.
Because they
It's
are a person you're getting water from to provide to us, which is the end user.
You go over and look in the book. You get the TCQ book, and they'll tell you in there that I'm supposed to furnish you water for your household usage. That's it.
Okay.
Putting it on your yard is cookies and cream, if we've got it. We didn't have it. This year, it was actually the first year we ever bypassed the 2.1 million. Other than last year, we went over it like 3 or 4 times. But it was a wet year, so there wasn't no problem. They didn't say anything. But this year, when we went over it like 25, 30 days in a row, then it became an issue because it's an issue everywhere.
But if you're telling me that according to that you only have to furnish me water for household use, several of you are landowners. Some of you have livestock. So are you telling me that you've cut back and you're not using water for your land and your livestock? I don't believe that, because I know what that takes. I grew up as a rancher's kid. Okay? So if you're telling me that you only have to provide it for my household use, those that are business owners are using water outside of a residential use. Let's not just split hairs here.
Okay.
I'm just telling you that the information I've received from Rockwall isn't lining up with what y'all saying. It's just like the story, or I take that back, the statement made at your last board meeting about the elevated tank. City of McLendon-Chisholm wasn't sitting on that thing for over a year. That was not true.
That's none of my business. I don't have a clue on that. That's in the engineering.
I understand, but it wasn't sitting over there for a year.
Okay. But like I said,
I will fight for you guys when it's a truthful statement, but I'll also call somebody out when it's not a truthful statement. And that wasn't a truthful statement. When we got that information, it was reviewed as quickly as it could be. It wasn't over a year sitting on the city's budget. That was unfair to make that statement about the city.
well, I didn't make that statement. I don't have anything. That's engineering stuff.
Okay.
And a correction on the contingency plan, or section 10 of enforcement, it's not based on a level. It's if someone is not complying with the contingency plan, the enforcement can be executed, whether it's level 1 or level 6. If they're not complying with it, there can be a fine from $100 to $500 if convicted. So it's not a level thing, and
Well, I didn't read that in our contingency.
I got it right here. I just opened it off your website.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I I said, you know, I work most of the day, and most of this is going on at night, and yeah, yes.
I hope you're not the only one running this whole water corporation.
But
Is
anyway,
that the case? No wonder we have problems if that's the case. This is bigger than a one-person show.
What are all these people, we had a public comments earlier, and now you all want to continue.
we're commenting on what I said.
What he said.
What I'm hearing is, I'm hearing completely different things now than I heard at the meeting last month. Last month, the engineer said that they got on top of Rockwall, and Rockwall agreed to supply you a little extra water so we could get it hooked up to North Texas. Now you're saying that's not true. This corporation with 42, whatever many houses you got out here, I don't know. But in 2019, you just said you've only gone to Rockwall 3 times to beat them up to get more water. Well, and I also heard at the last meeting, a director stand up and said, we're doing the best we can. Well, it dang sure sounds like y'all's best is not good enough, period. End my comment.
I'm sorry if I got you off topic. Guys, and I'll be real honest with you. We have pulled them off the topic. It needs to go back to
I
getting
know,
them back to contingency.
but I just, I don't
And I
hear
apologize for
different
getting you
things.
off track.
Two different meetings.
Dwight, I just have one question. It's not really a question. If they decide, the board decides to go back and allow us to water, could it be on a basis of once a week and by your house member, whether it's even or odd? I know Rockwall did that where they could do it twice a week, and it did that. But if they're wanting to try and see if it's gonna work, maybe once a week, so that it's not pulling it down all the way or pulling it down too much. But if they decide that we are allowed to do that, then that, you know, to be able to let people at least water once a week, just enough to keep things alive.
What stage would that be?
We really just don't have a stage for that.
I know.
It's a good suggestion, and you're thinking it's good, and it's really good if you allow, you know, one household numbers that need in 1 and 2, they get to 1 day, then 3, 4, and then right on down the line.
And make it a certain day.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
we
you
have to make
can't
it
just do
certain.
it any day of the week, it has to be
So you
done.
can do that, and it'll probably work out better if you get the people to go for it.
It's an honor system, and that's the hard thing. You don't have an enforcement arm to make sure they're doing it. I know where that's going.
Yeah.
So, if you do that, then you cut down, you know, to where, 2,600 customers, and you divide it by 5, so you're down to 500. You know, around 500 people that water. Most of them won't water, but then you'll have the ones that will water. So if you pull it down to once a day, then hopefully you don't never get back to that point where it's you're bumping your limit every day. But you know, it's strictly up to the board what they want to decide to do. We're just slinging it out there right now to see what they want to do, see what y'all want to do.
All right, let's go on to Christine.
Board, thank you for letting me come and speak to y'all today. I wanted to kind of first of all, my name's Chris Cooney. I'm a principal with Keaton Perkins. We're an engineering company based in Allen and Fort Worth, and we have an office here in Heath. Just wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed on our trilogy development that we had talked to you guys. I think we came in about a year ago to talk to you about the possibility of serving the development of water. Since that time, we've received some information from Eddie. Y'all's request, he worked with us and provided some numbers as to what they'd be expected for us to do. Since that time, we've made some revisions, and just so y'all know, this project is it's on Warren Hodges' old property. It's approximately 900 acres. The total development consists of some property about 139 acres that's in the city of Heath. There's about 170 acres plus or minus that's in the city of McLendon-Chisholm, and the rest is in McLendon-Chisholm's ETJ. Our plan for the development that we've worked out with the city of McLendon-Chisholm and under development agreement and under some of the entitlements that we've been working on the last couple of years, we're now down to about 1,700 lots that will be done in the ETJ and within the city limits, about 60 to 100 lots in the city of Peay. So the part that's in RCH's CCN is about 1,700 lots. Again, this is a development that will occur over probably a 10 or longer, 10 years or longer to develop out. We plan to hopefully have the first lots on the ground in 2024. So we've been working on figuring out what our options are for having y'all service water and what the impediments are and what other options we might have. And we've been working with the city of Terrell and a couple other developers in the area that are on the other side of the county in Kaufman County. And we've been working on the possibility of also having a second connection to the Terrell 42-inch transmission line. Actually, there's a connection already there, and Terrell is looking to bring water across basically Colquitt Road, south of, east of 205 and bring it into McLendon-Chisholm ETJ to the south and then extend it to the north. And looking at the economics of it and the timing, basically the agreements that Terrell has proposed, it looks like that's the most economically advantageous project or option for us. And so we wanted to let you guys know that we're strongly considering that we would look to decertify from RCH's CCN. I think given all the issues y'all are having, that might be a welcome thing. I don't know. That's something for y'all to decide. We are hoping that this could be an amicable arrangement. We understand that you guys have some facilities and some investment in that area, and we're willing to sit down. I think we've been told by counsel, our legal counsel, that there's several ways that we could go. One is basically a sale, transfer, merger act process, where we sit down and negotiate what that is, and y'all agree to let us go, and it's a joint thing application that's sent with y'all's blessing once we come to terms. If we can't come to terms, then the next option would be that we would go through the decertification process and start that whole deal. My opinion is we're not in that deal as the attorneys, but again, that's for y'all to decide. We have talked to, just so you know where we are, we have a 3-party agreement with the city of Terrell, the city of Terrell, and the Tapestry development, which is the Old Man Ranch, and the Trilogy development, which is the Huffines property. There's an MOU, a 3-party agreement sharing the cost of the line, and it's based on usage for each of the developments. And that has been executed by all 3 parties. And then we've also talked to the city of McLendon-Chisholm, and just for full disclosure, we have told them that if they are interested in taking the CCN after we decertify, we would be happy to transfer it to them at little or no cost, and that way they can slowly serve that development, and they would be getting the water direct from Terrell and selling it to us. I don't believe there's any other plans at this time for them to expand beyond that, but again, we think that could put them, at least get their toe in the water and get them and start down the path of the city taking over part of the system. That hasn't been, it's just an MOU, there's nothing that's been formalized. It still would take time to work out with the contracts and so forth, but again, that offer has been made by the Huffines, and we're waiting to see how that all pans out. That's kind of where we are. And we'd like for you guys to consider it, and if we could have some sort of response by the next board meeting as to what y'all's feelings are about that, so we'll kind of know where to go. We're anxious to get going. We're actually starting the process of looking at doing the right-of-way acquisition, easement acquisition, and sort of along that route. We're pretty far down the road. So happy to answer any questions, and if you've got concerns and you'd like to share them with me now, or any comments, I'd like to hear them.
Chris, would the first step in that be a formal letter to us asking that we enter into negotiations with you to
certainly, if that's what you'd like us to do, I mean, yes, we can do that. I can have that to you the next day or two and for consideration. And again, I think I've been authorized to tell you that that's what we'd like to start with the process. Again, get your reaction as to whether or not that's something that's, worth doing or not. And I want to say that I want to make sure that y'all understand, we didn't come across this process easily. I mean, we've looked at all the implications, and it's really an economic issue more than anything else. And talking to Eddie Daniels, your consultant, I mean, he indicated to us that, there was a cost to get water for McLendon-Chisholm and Sonoma Verde and, your CCN with us, and there was a plan to do it without us.
Yes.
And asking him, well, what do you think? He goes, my opinion is, which is just his opinion, he's not board member, he goes, I don't think they really care one way or another, they just need to know. I need to know so I can, I think he's looking at a 16-inch if we're with him, with you guys, and we're looking at a 12-inch if we aren't. So, and, some of the pumping obviously would be different. So I think with that, we're saying we think it's better economically for us just to go straight with it. Because it's a three-way split instead of, and we're actually the smallest of the users, so it makes sense for us. Harold's eager to bring the line up and expand through their EPJ as they come, and so that they're a large participant in that.
I'd like to see that letter.
Okay? We'll get that to you. Anything else? Do I have any comments on it? Or I know when we first sat down and talked about it, you're like, well, that's a lot of area to cover.
Go for it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
You,
Let's go to our maintenance update, all right?
Okay, the first item is relocation line on 205 for TxDOT. We're supposed to have a contract from DBI today to sign, that moves them forward in designing and show TxDOT where we're gonna move our lines to and what lines we gotta move. We don't have that contract today, so basically it's table, I guess, whatever you wanna do with it, is no action on that.
Could you give us a little bit of information on what you suspect that cost could be and how that's going to work?
Well, the cost of it is, they've estimated the cost at $3.5 million. And I think maybe 500,000 contract, engineering fee. So it's the movement of several thousand feet of line out of the new area TxDOT has bought. We will be reimbursed, but this money, the company has to put it up front first. We have to pay to have it moved, and then you file your reports to the state and saying, hey, this is what it cost us, we need refund. Now this is close to $4 million. We've had a little $100,000 project up here that's working on a year, we ain't got paid for it yet. So this could drag out 2 or 3 years on $5 million, or $4 million, so, it's, you gotta do it, but it's bad that the state won't give you something to help you start doing it. You got to pocket all up front for yourself.
They had given us a timetable on that, they saw.
Well, they want it done by December 23.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
This is where your customers can help, because once you get it done and it's sent the bill to the state, if you notify your members and they start calling the state congressman and state senators every day, all day long, that's gonna happen. If you'll do that, we'll start calling for you.
I told the state guy it ain't gonna happen. I mean, he just ain't gonna happen.
You're right here measuring the building now.
But he wants to he wants it done. Well, he's first of all, he's gotta have some plans to look at. So we can't do nothing until we get the plans. And the guy's not gonna do anything with plans until we sign a contract saying we'll pay him to do the plans.
So we have to go out and hire the engineering firm and pay that cost up front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all up front. It's, you know, like I said, it's 3.5 million for moving the line and like 500,000, so it's a 4 million. And that's just an estimate. That's today's estimate. And you know how things are going, you know, it could be a little lower, but I imagine it's gonna be a lot higher, because in that estimate is, you move the line over to A, and you go back to B, and you dig all the O line up.
Hey Dwight, can I ask a question, just out of curiosity, can I ask a question?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So what part are you having to relocate? The section from the take point?
Well, no, it's pretty close, just right below 549 here.
Okay,
You move over, they moved over to get away from stuff, so we gotta move our line over, and it goes all the way down to about Pullen Road, maybe somewhere along in there.
Okay.
But there's a 12 and 8 inch line out there, you know, so you gotta move those over, and then you go down and you got to redo every road crossing,
right,
and they don't pay for that.
right.
You got to extend the road crossing to get out from under the road, so they don't pay for any of that. So every road crossing you're out mowing, plus every house that's on the opposite side where the mains are, you've got to redo their service lines after the new move to that new house, to the house.
Well, the reason I was asking, when you get your new take point from North Texas and you've got the water tower at Sonoma, are you guys gonna abandon any of the part where you're from the connection to Rockwall down to did that save you some money having relocated, or?
No, there's no relocation from that
From
point.
that point, okay.
So you got some more relocation there, right around 550, from 550 south, all the way down to Lake Road. You got relocation there. Then you got relocation in Chisholm there, where it crosses from Lovell's house back up north to Clutch Road. You got that relocation. So it's pretty extensive road. You know,
And the abandoned pipe has to be removed also.
right.
That's a whole nother process.
Yeah, that's, the state's requiring that now. They're not going to get it.
Will they finance it?
The state?
Yeah.
I kind of heard, you know, it's something y'all can ask, but I don't see it, but, you know, I guess they don't look for financing, because we're financing this up here, we ain't got paid for it.
Is there a way we could ask to have a representative from TxDOT at our next meeting to go over this with us? I mean, this is a huge undertaking.
I imagine Jackie would be a good contact to get us somebody, I would think, since
We
everything's
just,
his line of work.
try to get somebody that's from the office that's doing this
Yeah, that's
process.
doing this work.
And that's high enough to say, yeah, you're right. You know, without him having to go back and ask somebody, and then he come back next month, and, you know, you're 3 or 4 months down the road, it's just like,
Y'all can contact.
And maybe
me.
some elected
You can
officials at that same meeting so they can hear the problems.
Yeah.
Or you can go to the,
I would like to make that a request, that we have somebody from TxDOT at our next meeting to discuss this with us, because this sounds like,
You get somebody who takes down, and it won't be the right person.
well,
I mean,
you get somebody, yeah.
Steve, you can contact the Rockwall District Engineer, he'll get you the right person.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I don't like being backed into this corner and then saying that, you know, taking money that we put back for what product, we just found out about this. What the money that, you know, this is gonna end up a big part of the reserves, or all the reserves that we have, to do something that we're not even gonna get reimbursed for who knows when. So I think we need to get somebody up here and explain to them, we're not a bank.
Maybe we should better line on it, give us a little more information.
Thank you.
That's all I got on the desktop project. Here's, I'll give that one to Rhonda. That's a good copy. Here's proposed, let's see, remote water meter reading, meters. I talked to several of them, and this was the only guy that really called me and talked sensible to me about what's going on. Put feelers out there, but he was the only one that come back and talked to me about it. This is, and really this is, like I talked to you several months ago, maybe the first of the year, was we was trying to get our meter reader off the busy roads of 205, 549, and 550. It's just getting so dangerous. It's dangerous to drive up and down, but it's much less than get in and out of driveways to read water meters. So we're looking at doing a remote read, and this is set up for 200 meters, initial cost on 200 meters. And this system, it reads it to a laptop, which will be stationed up at the pump station, and it feeds, these meters feed that laptop. Just 2 or 3 days, or you can go in there and sign on to it, and it feeds you what happened all day, one day. So it's continuously just popping the laptop and telling you what these meters that remote read are doing every 2 or 3 days. And you can kind of look at it. It's got a deal where it says, it'll alert you to, hey, this person's been using a lot of water and continues to use water for 24 hours. You may have a leak. So it gives you a little heads up on what may be going on with that residence at that particular time. We have, we're going to break.
I only got 2, sorry.
Okay, here, take a look.
And this is,
And, do what?
This is only for 200 meters.
Yeah, this is your initial setup and for 200 meters.
It's $166,000 for 200 meters. And we've got 10 times that, more than that.
Well, this was just the most dangerous.
Right, it's gonna be, like I said, on 205 and 549, 550 and 548. Just the, they come in there and redone the roads, and the ditches are like 2 full feet. It's not like you can pull off there anymore like you used to. They've raised them so high. So it's just a safety issue for a meter reader to do this. And but yeah, it pops you pretty good. The good part is it's a warranty for 5 years. If anything goes wrong in 5 years, they'll pay that. They'll redo the meter and pay the labor of redoing the meter.
And this is the meters in, taking those down, putting them in.
No, that's just the initial cost of the meter. That's not putting them in the box. That's the meters, and you've got special lids that go in there. It's got the transmitter that sits on top of it that sends the signal.
The satellite. Good.
It's supposed to be cell towers.
Oh.
And I got him to do it. We get them all in, and we got a 6-month deal. If it doesn't do close to what he said it would do, and he's looking at 97% efficiency, if it doesn't do that, then it's money back guaranteed in 6 months. If the system fails to do what we need it to do, then we've got a 6-month money back guarantee. But it's once you do this, there's no monthly fee after that for 10 years. The system's good for 10 years, and there's no monthly fee for 10 years, where some of the others are $1.50.
Is this what some of the others are using?
Sir?
Is this what some of the other countries are using?
College uses them, a couple of cities, I forgot which cities they were. There's several cities that use them. But like I said, him and his boss man come out and talk to me, give me the sales pitch, and like I said, they were the only ones that really seemed interested, because I worked with a guy 3 or 4 months and never did get anything out of him. can't sell there, and I can't do this here. Something y'all, you wanna look at it, or something you wanna, because even then, he said, you know, you make them 6 or 8 months out.
You get some payback from reduced labor.
Sir?
You get payback from reduced labor, maybe they're more accurate than probably need.
It's a pretty accurate, guy, college man said he's the most accurate he's ever
Yeah,
had.
but you use less labor, it's less out there to read, there's money you save there, it's a payback, sir.
Yeah, well, it's, $1.40 a month per week. So, yeah, it's reduced, but,
Yeah, but you have good accuracy, though.
right.
I mean, that's what electric, everybody's electric bit does that thing.
Yeah. But just, the problem is there's a lot of doubters out there about the computer. You can still, you've done it the way you wanted to read it.
There's still people talking about the electric meter too.
But that's something if you want to think about it, or you want to act on it today, or, it's up to y'all.
I tell you what, I'd rather get a better handle on this relocating the lines and what we're gonna do there before we start spending. Yes,
Okay, like I said,
I mean, that's just my thinking, James.
just a safety deal.
Well, I know, but I just.
Anything else, sir?
That's it, sir.
Hey, Warren, I'm sorry, before you go into execution, I left out one thing on my presentation, I just for the record.
Go ahead.
I want to just mention, I'm sorry, when we first started talking to y'all about y'all serving, Eddie thought that he was gonna be able to serve like the first phase before, immediately before the line went to Rockwall, or before you guys got off Rockwall's line. And when we went and really worked with Eddie on that, and he talked to Rockwall, they said no. So that was another reason there wasn't, there was an advantage initially about, well, if we could get hooked up now, we'd consider it, but that's out the window. So I just want to mention another one.
I think we heard that too. I think we were told that also.
All right. I believe we're ready to go into executive session.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you all.